like Miami.
Welcome to the Heat Beat Podcast. I'm your host, Giancarlo Navas. And with me today, we have our saucy takes coach, Lu.
What is going on, everybody? Look, shout out Tiff, shout out Brian. They got me to see the sign. I just got
look at this
mic.
sign.
Look at this legible ass sign.
Look at this legible ass sign that we got going on. Lu,
I'm trying.
Get that middle of that frame. Look at that beautiful. We got the great Siobhan joining us today to bestow us some knowledge. We got a lot to,
that's it.
We got a lot to talk about today, guys. We had a nice article today in the Associated Press. And listen, the topic of conversations today, by the way, chat saying I was enjoying the Aces parade. I apologize.
I know, right? Like,
no, Bon told me the same thing. Yeah, no, that's on me. That was that was on me. You know, I totally got my wires crossed. Apologies to Aces Nation. Apologies to the Caius, who's Aces lifer. Shout out Kelsey Plum. She's good.
Yeah, she is.
She's
Shout
good.
out Aja.
Who else is on that team that's good? I don't watch.
Wilson.
Well, we're not doing this.
I'm asking. I don't know. I want to give
the entire team is.
They're all good.
Asia,
Okay,
Kelsey,
I didn't know
Jackie.
I didn't know who the stars were.
Shout out Jackie Young.
I've talked
Alicia
about this.
Clark, 6 women.
Alicia Clark.
Yeah.
Who won Finals MVP?
22.
Back 22 back. Come on.
Asia Wilson.
I've told this story before, but I get so burnt out on basketball. I don't got anything left. I didn't watch a second of FIBA. I usually watch the W Finals, but I didn't get to that.
FIBA's not really worth watching. You wanted to watch some good basketball.
No.
Watch the W.
The W that's where FIBA stinks. The W is way better, way more competitive too. I will give it that. Shout out to the Aces, and all that. So listen, guys, today on the docket, we're talking about part 2 of the Miami Heat wings. We previewed power wings last time. We're doing the more finesse wings or just wings. Bon says
just wings.
Just wings. You know, just maybe not. They don't need an adjective. They're just they're just wings. Chad doesn't like my FIBA slander, but let's get to the article today because I know that Bon deserves some credit going in, but there was an article posted in AP today about Bradley Beal. Bradley basically said, like, hey, listen, I wanted to be in Miami. I reached out and they were not interested. And fans were mad. I think justifiably after everything that happened. You are Damian Lillardless. You are, really Beal-less. You didn't have that big name acquisition. They did some stuff on the margins. They added some young talent like JJJ. They bring back a guy like Josh. They have some interesting guys on their 2-way contracts, but really they didn't have that splash that you wanted of a team that just made the finals or a substantive move, right? That was more than for something that was more than the minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
what about Jrich Smith? Come on here.
Excuse me.
Acquisition of the offseason.
The point guard Jimmy's been wanting.
The point guard Jimmy deserves. I love you, Jimmy. Bradley Beal available. Heat passed. They went for what's the saying? A bird in hand versus 2 in the sky.
Yep.
And
eyes fixed to the sky, boy.
Fixed to the sky. Bon, I'm gonna let you say it. You were saying in the moment. You are not somebody that is. You are not Monday morning quarterbacking this. You were saying in the moment, you're like, I understand that Lillard is available. However, this is something that will cost less and is something that is for sure. And you were saying that at the time. And when they clearly moved off of it, you're like, I hope that this is not a mistake that they will come to regret. Yeah. And here we are.
Yeah, and I think what the crux of it is people being really, really far off, I think, honestly, or at least in my opinion, with what the team actually needs with regards to increased scoring threat, increased just availability of offense from a guy. And the whole time it's been like, I understand Dame was the luxury item. He was what you really kind of desired. But I think deep down, and I get it, it was Jimmy wanted it, Bam, that's his guy too. But I just felt like, Brad could have given you enough of what you wanted. He's a bona fide scorer. He's a 3-level scorer. He's a mid-range maven. He can operate in the same areas. He doesn't have to clunky it up with Jimmy and Bam. He can, like, Brad is, and I think he's ready to kind of win. And he has enough of kind of that junkyard kind of edge to him that I think he and Jimmy really would have, clicked and kind of gotten along. And I think that would have been a fun tandem to watch, like turn each other up. Like I would have liked to see Brad in Miami colors, like getting hype at stops and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I kind of thought it was a mistake then. I still think that it is. And, this is what we roll with. I understand the no trade clause and like, the Miami wanted him to waive it if, talks came up of Bill leaving Miami. But honestly, I feel like that shouldn't have kind of even been a thing that Miami really needed from him to commit to. I understand why they wanted to, and I understand why he chose not to protect himself. So, I get it, but I get it, but I don't get it. And I hate that it happened. Like they've been flirting with each other like over the years, and it's been, rumblings and pieces of things, but it felt like there was actually a window and to get it done. And people, oh, he chose Phoenix. No, he chose the person who chose him. Like Miami wasn't signing him. He said, okay, then I'm gonna, go where I'm wanted, I guess. So yeah, it felt, I didn't like it. You said it must have been a victory lap. Like I've been running kind of all summer. I've hated how so much of the summer has gone. A lot of it has felt like really kind of not predictable, but like these are things that I don't know were necessarily too heavily considered going into the route that we took. We didn't need to be here. You just came off the finals, let people choose you. And then here's kind of what we're left with.
Lou, I
know
feel
that they tried and they did all that they could do
no,
with the
absolutely.
thing.
But
yeah.
Unfortunately, we're here. And before you go, I want to piggyback one of Bond's points that I think the history of the post LeBron Heat is overconfidence in their hand.
Overselling.
And they claimed that they were totally blindsided by LeBron leaving. They thought, no way, right? No way he goes. And they were, I think Kevin Durant was pie in the sky. Guys like Gordon Hayward or all those, the list.
I thought Gordon was realistic. Gordon was. I didn't know that it was, I wanted it. I thought Kevin was pie in the sky too.
And by the way, Durant has said, I was most impressed by Miami's meeting. I just went with what Miami told me. And I go, hey, Kerr, can you do this? And he's like, by God, I've got it. Right. So, that's how that has gone. And then even going to trading for Jimmy the first time. Remember, they were in on that. It was like Olynyk, Richardson, and like picks and like little salary to make that work to get him in like a year early. And Riley told Tom Thibodeau, call me back when you're serious. I believe Ethan Skolnick reported that we were with 5 Reasons at the time. And then he got moved to Philly. They eventually got their guy, but they have overplayed their hand several times. And I think that's kind of one of the things that is standout of this era. And it's also like, to cut them a little bit of slack, it means that they're trying, right? They're not just like, they're not scared of trying, but eventually, like, you gotta, sometimes you don't always gotta hit the home run. Like you can get on base. And not that Brad is only getting on base.
And that's the thing too. Brad is not a first base hit.
Yeah. That's a double.
That's least minimum a ground rule double. It went off the guy's glove maybe or something. I don't know. But I mean, I feel like to Bond's point, what she was stating was like a bunch of these have been pie in the sky. I think Beal, when it was first reported years ago, was pie in the sky.
But it kept happening.
His value kept coming down. You want to talk about like what everybody talks about, Riley? When the value is at its lowest, that's when he pounces. Yeah. Where? It was at its lowest with Beal. I think this was the first realistic shot that you had at, and I'm not saying Beal and Jimmy and Bam. I'm not saying Beal is better than Dame, but he could have been had for way less than Dame could have. if you would have just took that chance. I don't think it would have even cost him Tyler.
Been a chance either.
It wouldn't have. It would have cost
I don't
him
think it
Lowry
would have.
to get the salary.
Exactly. And then
It
you're
might have
talking
been
some
Lowry and
picks.
Caleb or Lowry and Oladipo, whatever.
But you get what I'm saying? You start having these conversations and all of a sudden the pieces, you're like, damn, we could have had him for that cheap. And I'm not saying Tyler should have been traded after, but then you had the option, if you wanted to, move him and fully surround it. Like, you would have plugged all the holes on this team if you would have been able to keep Tyler, get Beal, and then move Tyler for some of those missing pieces, quote unquote. But we're here, and Pat Riley didn't do it, and Mickey Harrison didn't do it, and the Heat didn't do it. And here Beal is in Phoenix, and I've seen a lot of Heat fans saying that he wasn't the right fit and yada yada yada. Go watch Bradley Beal.
We call that cope, Lou.
Yeah, like, stop coping, be realistic.
I know, bro. At the time, I looked Bond dead in the face through Twitter, and I said, "You gotta go for Dame. Dame is available. You go for Dame."
You're so not alone.
And,
if I wanted to keep a personal receipts list, I'd be clearing folks out.
Hey,
if I had a nickel for every time I was wrong and Bond was right, I would have the Porsche I want right now.
The blue Miami.
And boy, do I want that blue Miami 718 Porsche Cayman.
And what's funny was I was way more upset after the Beal situation than after the Dame situation, because at that Dame situation, it just felt like they never had a chance. Not because I don't think their offer was good enough. It just felt like they weren't taken serious.
There were other forces at work.
But the Wizards were literally like, Beal, go find your offer. Where do you want to go, buddy? We'll send you there. Oh, and Miami? You want to call Miami? Exactly. And he had a no trade clause. Exactly. To your point,
Lou, with guys on Supermax, the secret is nobody actually wants to see that contract through. So the Wizards were very happy taking less
whatever.
Because they're just like, I don't want to pay. And I got the same with the Blazers. That the idea that Joe Cronin was like, oh, we will happily keep Damian Lillard. It's like, that's a lie. You don't want to.
Just want to reset the books, get a couple picks, and
they did good.
They got 6 second-round picks. Like, it wasn't even first.
The Blazers did fine, but what I'm saying is, like, they also didn't want to see that contract through.
No,
they don't. You know, they don't.
And I think the Heat didn't want to either.
I don't think the Heat want to see Jimmy's contract through either, but they're gonna have to.
They're going to.
They're going to.
They better.
They're going.
They better.
And you might. I'm gonna be honest with you. A conversation for later down the line is if 13 doesn't want that dead contract weight next to him as he's trying to win. That's a different conversation.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that when the sun time comes.
We will talk about that at a later date, because right now it is happy time. I will say this, and this we'll end with this, because I do want to give the organization a little slack, because I'm not like as hard on them as other people, but I do have like my criticisms. Like, I think not keeping Gabe was strictly a bad move that they did financially. They tried to save money because there was no reason why they couldn't keep Gabe. They did not want to pay that tax, and they're scared of the second apron.
Wasn't it only like an extra $1.5 million?
Dude, at the end of the day, bro, he's a movable player as well. Like, he's a good basketball player on like a nice contract. Like, you can move that for like some seconds or something, you know, if you really need to get off of him. Like, some team is gonna need a second guard. Like, a good team is like, bro, you don't think the Clippers at a deadline would be like, yeah, bro, we'll take him. You know what I mean? Like,
Tiff had people in Brooklyn that said when that whole KD thing, whenever that shit was going, like, Brooklyn wanted Gabe.
G's describing us at the trade deadline. Shit, we'll take Gabe at the trade deadline.
That's what I'm saying. So it was like, it just felt
we need him now. Shit.
So I think I'm fair on the organization in that sense, but I'll cut them some slack. And like, they did not want to be stuck with a guy who had years left on his deal on a supermax with a no trade clause. And I understand them being scared of that with Jimmy and Bam and Tyler and those big contracts and a second apron that was coming up and new cap rules that they did not plan for. So I will give them, that is the only thing I'll grant them, is that I understand being scared. And listen, maybe you say, hey, whatever happens 3 years down the line, future you deals with that. You owe it to those guys to win next year. And let the rest be damned.
Yes.
As Brian Windhorst says, you never, ever, ever have to apologize for a title.
Bang.
You
There
never
it is.
do. And that's that conversation. And we'll move on, because if not, I'm sure we could spend a whole show on
What?
this.
You're pushing the wrong buttons right now.
A
man.
whole show. I got the
Getting
two
me mad
people.
again.
I got the two people most qualified about this. But guys, we have wings to preview today. Part 2. We had power wings last week. We're doing finesse wings, or just wings, just like the normal wings today. So the 4 that we're previewing today after the cut. So we have Jrich, Caleb, Jamal Cain, and Duncan Robinson. Josh Richardson is not really like a wing, but he will for sure defend wings. And so he will also be in the guard preview, but
He's a half and half.
He's a half and half. You know what I mean? He's a half and half. And I'm thinking of the Deuces bit, the dairy aisle. He is not half and half. That was Tyler Johnson, Josh Richardson, straight milk. Yeah. If you were around during that era, what a time in Heat Twitter. But so we'll start with Josh, and we're going to talk about Josh strictly as a guy who's going to defend wings and a guy who's going to kind of help them defensively there. So Bon, I'll start with you, and then we'll go to Lu. He's a guy that's intriguing on defense for a couple reasons. He's a guy that gives you some length at multiple positions. He's a guy that I can see him guarding some of the smaller wings. I don't see him on guys like Kawhi or Paul George or anything, but there are some. I mean, I could see him on Jaylen Brown, right? Kind of harassing kind of those those wings that might have a bit of a shaky handle.
Give me one more other than Jaylen, because I'll give you Jaylen. Give me one more.
RJ Barrett.
I think a guy like RJ Barrett. I think guys that won't dominate him strength wise, and I think he can even give up a few inches to some guys as long as they're not like those guys that are just way too strong for him. I do think they'll be comfortable switching him. And I think in series where you have a Jason Tatum who might want to find a nice matchup, if they go with like a really big kind of lineup and Jrich is the most quote unquote vulnerable defender, he's a guy that you can kind of trust a little bit to survive. Yeah. So that's where I am at with him, Bon. I want your thoughts.
I feel like someone like a Jaylen should be able to overpower him, but I understand that Jaylen Brown probably won't. And okay, so I like that. Then I agree. It's either a shaky handle or with enough length that Josh can get up under them enough without not without fouling, because you need to be able to defend PLA without fouling, period, but just enough to kind of disrupt their airspace. So if I'm like triple threat and I'm having it held up here and stuff, I trust Josh, to like really dig up in guys and make it, uncomfortable. So I will say that I think the extent of his, super comfortable switchability is probably 1 through, 2 7/4 to 3 1/4 or something like that. Or so yeah, I appreciate him. I think that he is like that. Like he has an instinct, for it. He has a nose for the ball, quick enough hands, quick enough feet, disciplined enough. So, I'm with you. I think, because you said we're not talking about him offensively this show. So defensively, I do think that those are, and you can play him at the high parts of your zone.
I like Beal to Bon.
High Beal. Yep. I think you can play him at kind of your high parts of your zone. You trust him digging down and getting in gaps, and with recovering back out, he can get you deflections and run outs. That stretch where Vic was in your gaps and you were getting a bunch of tips and deflections and stuff like that. I see him being utilized in kind of that way. So I think from that standpoint, he's someone who, we should feel really comfortable with.
Chat had another one. Anunoby is a guy that might not kill you with the handle, and I know I
think OG's too strong and too large and should be able to leverage that.
I'm not gonna lie, Bon. If they want to run offense through Anunoby, I might let them.
Oh yeah, I'd let you do it. Yeah. But if you wanted to put OG in like an extended post on Jrich, I think I'm worried about Jrich.
I don't think the Raptors have enough shooters for that to be scary.
Yes. Fine.
I think the ideal guy, like if we're talking, I think it's kind of like a DeMar DeRozan type.
That's a great one.
Yes.
Somebody who just likes to get to his spot, and you just need to disrupt them, push him a foot or two back, stay in his airspace, kind of just contest with length and just hope he misses. I think that's kind of
I'm
Jay
good on
Rich's.
him with like Harrison Barnes's,
Exactly.
Wiggins's.
I see a guy like Andrew. I actually do think, and he's like sneaky strong.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But Richardson, I think the best thing he provides for this team in terms of defense is his ability to play make defensively. The Heat have been missing that since to Bond's point, we had a healthy Oladipo. Aside from Jimmy, realistically, nobody really play makes in terms of like creating turnovers like that. Bam's a great positional defender. He's not really in lanes as much as Jimmy. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at. But Josh Richardson provides.
Kyle will in his doubling. Like Kyle will double a big and do it that way.
Yeah, Highsmith will too, but he just didn't play enough. But you know what I'm saying. A guy who's guaranteed PT, Josh Richardson, he should be able to play make. He should be able to, like to Bond's point, guard one. I think through three, I feel comfortable saying I don't think he can. You don't really want him on fours. It's not really what he's there for. But you just want him to be a pest, like literally the whole game. You just want him to be annoying. And I know we're not talking about on offense, but on the offensive side, you just want him to hit a spot up three. Realistically, that's kind of what you want from your wings. Anyways, 3 and D, Josh is literally tailored to that specifically. And I think he's going to be, I think he should start, honestly, but we'll get that conversation another day.
We can get there now. I mean, do you while we're on the topic of him, do you, and we have a surprise for tomorrow. We have Brady Hawk to preview Heat guards. So
Shout
Brady,
out Brady.
We'll ask Brady this tomorrow. But Bond, do you think that Jrich should start?
I am unsure because I'm unsure about Caleb. And I don't even know where I'm just staring at their names. I'm sorry. And I don't even know where I would necessarily at this point in time want Caleb starting offensively. But I think just easiest answer is probably.
Lou?
No, I 100% want him to start. I think, I just genuinely don't see why he shouldn't start.
Yes.
We've talked about, the bigs, obviously Bam, Jimmy, the playmaking that they provide. Obviously, Tyler, you're going to talk about tomorrow with Brady, but like, I think Lowry is more important for the bench unit than he is for the starters. And Josh Richardson's defense is more important with the starters than it is with the bench unit. And so for those reasons, I just think like literally 2 + 2 = 4. You start the guy, let him figure out your defensive issues. All you need him to do is hit a couple threes, guard, like you said, 1, 2, or 3s, depending on who's going off. So you give Jimmy a break. And I think you're chilling with him at the 1 or 2 or whatever you want to play him.
Yeah, he's a weird guy to categorize because, as we always talk about how positionless the league is, but he's going to defend. I think he'll defend 1 through 3, and they'll switch him on to guys and like Bond kind of talked about, he played the zone and everything. So they do need shooting from the wings. So if they do go with some smaller lineups where he's playing the 3, they lack enough shooting in those lineups. Another thing I can kind of see him doing before we move off on him, I can see him guarding like those wing shooters that run around a lot. Because he has the length and the screen navigation to do that. And I think that's a low key area where, like they had Gabe doing that last year a lot. And I think that was not the best role for Gabe, even though he did not have the size to contest after running around screens. Not his fault, right? That was not but it was what they had, because you can't have Jimmy do that. You know what I mean? Either. The league's different. I'm old enough to remember Dwayne Wade chasing Rip Hamilton around. The league is different. It's a different time. No star is doing that anymore.
So sad.
It is. I'm honestly
so sad.
Because I'm thinking about it. I was like, Dwayne Wade did it. Like, why not?
Hey, don't compare. Hey, man, that man is. The greatest of all time for Miami.
We're off him. If you got Bradley in the Miami system ready to win, I think Bradley locks into not consistently, but I think he nuts up at the opportunity.
I agree. And Bradley had a good defensive season in Washington. It's there. It's just
for sure.
You're playing.
It's a matter of want sometimes.
Are we concerned with Jrich having not played much in the preseason at all?
Offensively or defensively?
Offensively.
Okay, yes. The answer for that is yes. Am I concerned offensively? Yes, because I don't know how it's going to look.
Yeah.
I think the easiest way for you to feel comfortable is to have him try to do as least as possible to start the season offensively and just focus defensively and just kind of spot up to start the season. Even though I do think he's comfortable, he's been in the system. But one thing people don't remember from Jrich,
it's a new system, Lou.
It is a new system, but it's still the same big man rolling. It's still Bam, and he used to get him, different feeds.
Lou.
He'll figure it out,
That
man.
used to be Hassan. He played a lot with Hassan.
Hey, Jrich used to throw some lobs to both of them, and we don't have that no more. I mean,
Hey, by the way, speaking of I want to give a big F you to the Toronto Raptors for cutting Justice Winslow. I was so ready to be a lifer where we're all wings, and you cut my man. Someone find him a home. I love him. I want him on a team. Adam Silver.
A team, not this team.
No, listen. If they sign Justice Winslow, I'm throwing a parade down Calle Ocho. Me, Lou, Pablo the intern, Christian Moose. We'll have the most Cuban.
I love Winslow. Do not count me in on that parade.
You?
I love Justice Winslow.
Well, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna run you over.
Lou hit the magic
castle. Public execution.
Lou said, "I'm not gonna be there."
Shit. I'm good off of 25% from 3 anymore.
You can go.
Keep it pushing. We have enough of that on this team, G.
Let's move on to another from one shaky shooter to another. Caleb Martin. I'm kidding. Listen, Caleb Martin. He's a guy that. Listen, Lou said last week on Mixed Bag, "Hey man, this is my Lou impression. Hey man, we should there's a universe where Caleb gets moved for some depth or for some help.
I said for a point guard because Lowry's not enough.
For some guard depth. Yeah. And I don't think that's crazy. And Caleb hasn't played this preseason, so I don't want to do this. I love Caleb Martin. I think Caleb Martin's awesome.
I agree.
I also think that paying him this offseason, that's gonna be a point of conversation. I imagine around January we're gonna hear rumblings on if they're gonna trade him or not, because you don't want to lose him for nothing, but also he's gonna probably be a big important rotation player. He's an interesting guy, Bon, for those reasons, because you want, obviously he could start, he can come off the bench. We need not say more about the Celtics series, but he's also a guy that they might not be able to keep, that I think you and I are both expect a little bit of regression offensively from him, kind of coming down to earth a bit. Where does he fit in to this Heat team?
I think the where does he fit in part is, it feels like it shouldn't be a difficult question to answer. And I know that it isn't, but they have a lot of, or they have enough in this group that I think that it's kind of tough. I don't know. I really kind of struggle with Caleb. I feel like they got a lot more than I think that they expected to get out of him last postseason. And it got such to the point to where we were needing what he was doing. Like once Denver came around and it's like, oh shit, Caleb Martin is not whatever. And then you find yourself asking yourself like, well, how did I get here? Why was I expecting, 15 to 19 in whatever types of ways from a Caleb? But I think that some of my fears for him come from, the injury, the knee thing, right? And there is a difference in kind of what he has and what typically is diagnosed from the knee area. Like everyone knows, tendinitis all the time. Jumper's knee, it's a thing, right? Tendinosis, which is what Bam has tendinitis. Caleb, the report is that he has tendinosis, and tendinosis is actually a structural damage to the ligament. It's not just the inflammation of the tendinitis. And so given that that's a distinction, and his game is one that is built so much off of his first step, his explosiveness, his ripping ability, his kind of just first burst by you, and those things really hurt with the particular area of pain for his game. So that is where some of my fear for regression from him comes. The form, the hitch, and the shot still stresses me. And so I'm just waiting for that shoe to drop back down to, and for that to level back out. And I think the thing that I most wanted to see from Caleb last year is offensively is him in an initiating role, but in a way that makes sense. What's up, Greg? They will let him walk. I don't know. But maybe we didn't have to. They were running stuff with Caleb last year, like towards the end of the season, having him at the top of key, like navigating or trying to navigate like stagger screens, or like trying to navigate Spain and kind of find and pick his ways. And it didn't feel structured. Like it felt like he was kind of just up there navigating, trying to make reads on his own. And in a little bit of some of the preseason, or in a little bit of what I have seen recently, is like orchestrating things for him to feel comfortable coming into like the pull-ups, the mid-range types of areas. So, I know for a fact I did not answer your question at all with regards to, where does he fit or kind of what we expect from him. But he's probably the one person that I had the most fear, apprehension, questions, whatever kind of about. And it's like he and Josh.
That pull up at the end of that B-roll is fucking crazy. The baseline dribble to the pull up.
He has the tools. If he can tighten the handle and be cool in the middle 1/3 of the half court, like
just fucking hell,
but
bro.
I don't know.
Like I can't look at the on Tatum gets past Smart, who's complaining, and cans it. Yeah, foot on the line. Caleb, first ballot Hall of Famer. Chat says. I want to bring up what Leif said before we get to Lou. That Leif said that they'll let him walk. That's kind of like what they've been doing. I mean, they did it with Max. They did it with Gabe, right? And I think that they knew at some point okay, we're just not keeping these guys, right? Like I think they had a figure in which they were willing to go, and then I think it became clear that those guys were just gonna get more than that, and that's interesting, right? And that's. They've been more willing to do that than most teams. Most teams will do that, but I don't know if you. And again, this is kind of the position that they're always in. I don't think not paying him is wrong. It just looks bad because they just keep doing it. And I've been on record. I don't think not paying Jay Crowder, correct decision. Not paying PJ Tucker, correct.
The best decision.
Not pay, and this is just another. And they Duncan is one thing, but they seem to have learned from the Dion, JJ, Olynyk contracts. Hassan, all those guys. I think this is going to be the real test because he's a guy that really kind of broke out in their system, unlike those guys that were kind of rehabilitation. Like, hey, come here. Let's work together. Let's get you guys. So that's going to be such an interesting subplot to the season and how important, because he might be critical to what they do, Lou. And obviously, if he's important to their rotation, they're not going to move him. They
absolutely not.
That's not what they do. And listen, they had a chance to trade Wayne Ellington for second-round picks. They said, no, thanks. We're just going to push for an 8 seed. That's just how you can disagree with it. That's just how they operate.
Yeah. And last year, you saw why they pushed for every little bit, because you never know what can happen in the playoffs. But I do think
what a great point, because they push for that. Because when you have, listen, they had Dwayne Wade on. They you have Dion, Dwayne Wade, Jimmy Butler. You want magic just for a little bit.
And I think today was a very telling day. I'm kind of happy the timing with the Caleb situation, because today we saw a lot of extensions get handed out in the NBA. And, you start, at least myself, I start like, okay, how do I feel about Caleb Martin in this kind of extension? So an example that I'm just going to give is somebody like Josh Green. He got 3 years, $41 million from Dallas. Obviously, they're not the same player, but they have similar impacts to their team. Hustle guys, they're brought there to do a certain thing, and they do what they're brought there to do very well.
I think that's fair value for Caleb.
And
341.
3 for 41. So you're talking like 14 per. I think it's going to be higher than that if I'm being honest. Somebody like McDaniels got 5 for 135, which is 27 per. So I think it's between 14 and 27. I think somewhere around like 18 to 20.
27 is too much.
No,
It's
it's
way
way too much. But I'm saying
giving-
14. I'm saying 18 to 20 million is kind of where I feel like he should be getting a little more than Max
NBA
Strus money.
starting caliber player.
So yeah, and to be fair, I don't think he's going to get moved if he's playing good, no matter how much long term that should be the idea. But just that's not the way they move.
They got to be blown away by the offer.
Absolutely, and I don't think there will be. So like I think to Leif's point, I think they are just going to let him walk. He's probably going to get like 3 for like 50 something next year, and we're going to be whatever. But I do think what's interesting about Caleb is I think he's our backup point guard as it currently stands.
Oh God,
People want him to be the starting 4. I think he's going to be, to Bond's point, initiating offense with the second unit.
No way. No way.
I fully believe this. Everything that
It's
I've
gonna be
seen from
Josh.
Caleb,
it's gonna be Josh.
They've
Well-
played with. Hey, that's who the battle is between the two of them. I guess.
There's no way. No way.
shit. You could be upset, man, but I think that's how it looks, bro. Like I
think that would get me the most. That would get me the most mad.
I think.
Why do you sign Drew Smith?
Screaming.
I'm not even touching that conversation.
That's for Brady tomorrow. Get ready for that kind of worms, Mr. Hawk.
No, but I mean, realistically, like I think he's the guy in the second unit they're going to trust the most with the ball because I don't think he should be starting, especially if Josh starts. I think Lowry's going to be, if Lowry starts, which I know that's probably what you want, G, but if Lowry starts, Caleb's our backup point guard. I think it's that simple.
I think Lowry's going to start just because if they had like,
I think if they disrespect him, yeah,
if they had like a real if they had just like a real point guard, like
If Gabe stays, who starts?
Gabe, no question.
Gabe, I would
100%.
keep Kyle Lowry where he belongs.
Question. If they had anybody that is around Gabe, if they had Beno Udrih starts.
Hey, he's a dog. He's gonna get this offense going. Not gonna do nothing else, but he will get us going.
Where's Alf? Because Alf loves Beno. But Alf is a Beno. Alf used to say, like, bro, Beno made me feel so safe because Goran would come out and it would be a 2-point game, and Goran would come back and it'd be a 2-point game. The steadiest motherfucker out there.
Yep.
He won't cut into a lead. He'll give it back right how you gave it to him.
No, yeah, and exactly like I think what we define as a point guard as Heat fans has to be completely shifted because I don't think we've had one of those for years.
What I'm saying is a ball handler, a ball handler that can do a pick and roll.
Okay, so my definition of what I think when I say Caleb bringing the ball, I mean just backup point guard duties or whatever. I think he's gonna bring the ball up the court. I don't think he's going to initiate offense most of the time, but I do think you'll have some plays ran for him. But I think he's going to be the guy in charge of we're inbounding the ball. You got to get us into our set.
But that's initiating, Lou.
Yeah. But the reason I don't say initiating is I don't know how much pick and roll he'll run. And I don't think he's bad at it, to be very fair.
I think running pick and roll and like actually initiating, just passing and going, I think those are different.
Exactly. And that's what I think he'll do. I don't know how much pick and rolls he'll initiate, but I do think he will bring the ball up the court and get us started into a play.
I agree.
But I don't know how much pick and roll he'll run. I don't think that's what you want from him ideally. But I mean, realistically, I said it all last year, G. I said he was our 4th best player. Outside of the top 3, we know who they are. We're not even going to touch him. He was the 4th most consistent basketball player we had. Yeah. No, this motherfucker right here, man. God damn. Got him. Nah, Jimmy Bam Tyler. He was the 4th most consistent player all year. He showed up in the postseason. It's time. I think they're going to give him the reason I think he's going to get this role is because they're going to give him a chance to earn it and be proven wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Bond, you're agreeing with him. I truly think what they're going to do is they're going to stagger Jimmy and Kyle, or Jimmy and Tyler, and when one of those guys is going to be the one to bring the ball up or run the offense. Like if Tyler, what I imagine what they're going to do is they're going to bring Jimmy out. Either Jimmy stays the whole first quarter or Tyler, one of those two is going to like leave midway through the first or like with 7 minutes, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then one of those guys is going to run the show. And then when the second unit comes in, one of those guys, either Jimmy or Tyler, is going to come in with the second unit. I'd imagine it's going to be Tyler, and it's going to be like Tyler, Josh, Caleb. That means another season of Tyler and Duncan. We'll see how that works out. But I think they're going to have something like that, right? Instead of like, Caleb, congratulations, you are. And I do think that, like, in the events that Kyle's hurt, I think it's going to be Josh to be like, okay, you're going to be the de facto ball handler, when it's not those two guys.
See, so in the group that you, in whatever lineup that you had, maybe like Caleb and Tyler together, I think to your point, or what you were saying is kind of to Lou's point, right? That like, if it's your Bam Tyler pick and roll stuff, then it's probably going to be Tyler. But if we're not necessarily running pick and roll, if Duncan's in there somewhere, if Cole's in there somewhere, and we're trying to like hit the wing to get someone in an extended post up so we can run like a flare or some other shit on the other side, I do think it, like, I don't not see Caleb as the initial pitch run. I'm the first leg of the screen now, and then everything breaks from there. Like, I don't think that that's too far-fetched. And again, they played with it so much, or not even so much. The fact that they tried it late in the season too, last season, to me stood out, because I don't think that there's no reason to kind of do that unless you don't plan on poking with that or like tampering with that further, even with a Josh back.
I think this was where they wanted to get him to Bond's point. Also, I think a very key thing, people are talking about him handling the pressure. Josh Richardson doesn't handle pressure well when he brings the ball up the court. That was one of the things that frustrated, I think, everybody who watched him when he was here, and he was a primary ball handler. But I don't think Caleb gets the same matchups put onto him. So if he gets like a 4, I think he will bring the ball up. Why to not put that pressure on Jimmy and on Tyler, to not just bring it up but initiate the offense? I just think he has to get it across half court. I think he's going to be the guy to do it. The Heat don't run with the point guard. They haven't in a while, essentially. So it's going to be, I think he's going to be fine. I think, like I said, this backup bench unit is going to be entirely dependent on, I think, him and Jaime, which we talked about. But specifically, if he does anything that he did last postseason, it just in obviously combined the whole postseason, which he was very good. I know the Denver series is kind of iffy, but I think he's the clear cut, like, hey, this is your role. Go get his buckets. You're the 6th man. At least I hope that's what it is, because if he's starting, I don't think Kevin Love even touches the court.
Let's Commissioner says Caleb shot the ball down Giannis's throat like 5 months ago. That's how he responds to pressure.
Bangers. Thank you, Leches.
Not gonna lie. That's bars. That's bars. I know.
Okay, but I'm okay. You did it for a little stretch of time. Do it for me again. Like,
and 82 games.
Lou, and I love your point about, I feel like they are setting themselves perfectly with him specifically to give him the chance to play for that contract. You're either gonna prove me right and like I was okay to, go ahead and let you walk, or shit, you really, really changed my mind, and now I have something to either think about, or your stock just for yourself is raised.
I just don't
and
like
then you
him.
Can go command what you command.
I like him coming off the ball. I like him coming off a pin down. I thought that they were like
coming off the pin downs, and then what though? Like into catching and shooting, or
attacking defenses that are trailing. Yeah. Like I don't know. I like him off secondary actions. I don't like him off primary actions. I thought last year when he was his most successful in that Boston series, it was when Jimmy would draw a little bit of help and then they'd swing the ball and he made them pay. Typically, by the way, without he wasn't being guarded by the best defenders, and he was able to take advantage of that.
Yes,
to kind of finagle space and get the space and everything. And listen, one of those clips we showed, he drilled one over Tatum and Smart, right? Like, so he's capable, and when he has the pull up going, it's certainly something incredible. I mean, I would like to say his finishing was the thing that I think the shooting, obviously, you can get hot as a shooter even if your shot is like his. The finishing, the changing hands, that is the part that I was like, whoa, that's real.
Yes.
I don't think that's going anywhere. The cutting, and that's why I like him off ball, because you get more. He's not going to break down a defense with the ball.
Let me tell you, who he is. If his knee can't hold up, that cutting and those types of actions are hard. It's much easier to pass, initiate, relocate, be part of some screening stuff, and then you still kind of get your secondary kind of bend actions. But I don't know.
I think he's going to be on the maintenance plan.
You know what's the realest thing
Yes,
Caleb has?
I agree too.
It's these things we call cojones.
Yeah,
Them
dude.
shits are heavy.
Yimi.
Exactly.
Quick question before we move on. Lifer or not a lifer? Lou.
Caleb?
Yeah.
I think no question.
Lifer?
In spirit, yes.
Lifer, bro. Lifer.
Yeah,
we gotta bring. I don't know if you're in chat. Press 1 if you remember Heat Beat Classic. Lifer or not a lifer. We gotta bring the game shows back. We used to play game shows. We gotta bring back lifer or not a lifer. We gotta
putting them on TikTok.
You've been slacking.
No, yeah, we're bringing the game shows back. Brian Goins, Brian, where are you? We need to bring the games back. Brian loved the game. Brian was like the biggest fan of the games. That was like the happiest he's ever been. All right, guys, let's move on to Jamal Cain, Lil Daddy, Tiff's boy again. Sad, Miss Hamish, Miss Jamal Cain. He is a guy that impressed us during this run, right? This preseason. He's a guy that I think we all have seen the vision, the flashes. He's a guy that I'm happy that is in their system. He's a guy that I want them to keep around. I think they have something there. I think we've seen the shooting. We've seen the defense. We've seen what he can do on offense. Bon, I'll start with you. Then we'll go to Lou. Where does he fit in this season? And let's start on offense, and then we'll work. We'll start on offense and go back to defense, because, like we said, Caleb's going to be on the maintenance plan, and
there is where he fits. When Caleb is, and I felt that too. And so in the offseason, when all the packages and stuff were being discussed, I really feel like Jamal is some Caleb insurance. Either they let Caleb walk or, when the games that he's on maintenance plan or whatever. I think he fits that really, really similar same type of role. I don't see him with as little as initiation credit as we kind of just gave Caleb. I don't see any of that from Jamal. I see straight slash. He has a great feel for when he's being overplayed, when to get backdoor, and if the shot is real, I think that's huge. He's a good baseline roamer. He understands kind of how to move when he's off the ball, which is he's going to be off the ball. I'm with you. I love that they kept him around. I think that he probably should have gotten the last actual spot. But I don't know how the whole two-way conversion shit works. But say Caleb is gone at the deadline, I feel like you're bringing something back, you're elevating Jamal. I just like Jamal's game. I like how quick he is. I like how spry he is. And I think that he offers them a lot of motion. He's someone that can be highly involved in all of the backdoor screens, all of the back cuts, all of the kind of off-ball actions. And your split type actions, you have a shooter streaking up, and that's where all your gravity is. You're sending all your defensive attention, and then you have guys like Jamal cutting from the 45, or you have someone ripping baseline. Jamal's a good angled cutter off of baseline rips too. So I'm happy they kept him around. And last season, I think he'd had a decent game. There's just a fine showing, just one of those. Oh shit, this guy kind of had something. And I don't know who had the camera and Bam and he's face in the tunnel, but they were walking back to the locker room and Bam had him by his shoulders and Jamal Cain, he's going to be one of the next, that you kind of hear around here. And I really believe it.
Lou, before we get to you, because I know that you have a lot to say about this, Jamal Cain he's 6'7".
Yep.
He's bigger than Haywood Highsmith.
No.
I still am not gonna believe that,
guys.
Hold on, wait a second. I have proof. Because I was looking up his measurables while we were talking about it.
The Heat listed Highsmith.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey,
that's photographic evidence by Garrett Ellwood of Getty Images.
I'll take it.
Hey, I see about a solid inch there.
I do,
That's what
but you know, Hamish got the hair. If you
For sure.
give Hamish your cut, they might be right there.
And he got the shoulders. He got the shoulders.
And
And
that's
by
why
the
he
way-
plays bigger. Hamish plays bigger.
No, yeah, for sure. They're
But
not even remotely the same
No,
build.
not
we
at all.
talked.
Not at all.
That's why Hamish was in Power Wings. Working
Yep.
with
They-
Exactly.
Highsmith is going to miss time. He has an injury, unfortunately, to start this year. So again,
So
a
tough.
moment for Jamal Cain. And listen, Spo doesn't go guy for guy, right? Like he'll like who's healthy, who can play. You know, he'll fucking play 3 centers if he has to, whatever works. He would never do that, but
He would never.
he would
Every position but centers,
But
I
centers.
entirely agree.
yeah, every position doesn't matter.
He'll play
So-
1.5 centers when
Yeah.
healthy.
He'll play no centers. Call it a day.
Kevin Love. at the
He
top.
loves that. That's like his favorite.
That's his jam.
If he didn't have Bam, man,
Ultimate power wing. I don't care.
that guy.
Highsmith would be the 5.
I was gonna say Highsmith should count as lucky stars that Bam Adebayo's there. Bro,
Oh
that
my
man used to
God.
have like Rodney McGruder defend Kawhi Leonard. That was crazy.
Hey, I'll
I
never
can
forget what he
see
did to
that.
Paul George.
That was no Bond. You say that. I don't know if you remember. Kawhi
I
Leonard
must not.
made that guy a rag doll. It looked
Nah.
bad. It
He
was
couldn't.
I
like
can see that
Rodney's like, oh god, and then Kawhi's just like shoulder bump, and this man went flying like farther than the fucking than the massage gun did.
Have you
That
seen
makes-
Zion in high school highlights? That was Kawhi versus
That was
Magruder.
Kawhi, dude, versus poor Rodney. White
Oh,
Hot
Poor
Take-
Rodney.
White Hot Take says Justice Winslow at the 5. Yeah, never forget. Game
Yeah.
7,
Yes.
I wish I
Winslow
could.
at the 5.
Would've
By the way,
liked to.
Want to talk about cojones, Lou? You know, you talk shit about Justice.
I love Justice.
Rookie, Game 7 on the road.
Hey, start him at the 5, blown out by 25. Not his fault though.
Not his fault. Not his fault. Hassan was
But-
down. And hey, Dwayne Wade low-key stinky that game.
Hey, it is.
Low-key.
He's forgiven. All is forgiven. He brought us.
You know, he was
3
like
of them.
there was some video going around, and it was Dwayne's highlights from that playoff run. And
Cooking.
he had that one game against the Raptors. He was bad that series. I don't know if y'all remember. I remember being like, oh, that was the first time I was like, oh, is this over? Because like it was bad, bro.
It was literally my reaction. I was
Because
like,
like we had the Hornets series, and we remember that fondly because the purple shirt guy.
I
That
hate
Hornets
that
team wasn't
guy.
that was not a very good Hornets team.
no.
And they were very injured, you know, but they got out of that, and they play that Raptors team that
it's
yeah, no,
Rod, it's Kawhi versus Rodney.
well, yo, let's go intern. Let's go Pablo. Yeah, that was Kawhi versus Rodney McGruder. Bro, that's
Did that
what it was
bounce off
like.
that boy's head? Oh my
That's
god.
what it was like watching Kawhi against Rodney McGruder. It was
This
crazy.
is comedy. You guys are
That
doing
is very
too.
funny. This is great, Pablo.
That's fucked up a spo, bro. It's
Hey,
fucked
that's why you should be watching on YouTube, please.
we're clipping this. This is for the gram too. The gram's gonna get this one. Oh my god, poor
Kinda
Rodney.
love it.
But yeah, guys. Jamal Cain. You know, I think defense. I think we were talking about offensively. Offensively, I mean, you want last year was at 35% shooting. Lou, we didn't even get to you. I'm so sorry. We got so sidetracked. Let you go. I'm gonna let you go with your thought before I pivot to something else.
No, for sure. So I think to Bond's point, I think
Hold on, wait. I want to read this comment before you start. I'm so sorry. Legend says the Raptor series cost us a lifetime of being subjected to Dwayne and Cavs jerseys. That was you know the domino meme, like one domino, and the small domino is Hassan Whiteside goes down in the Raptor series.
I will never. That to me never happened. Dwayne was never a Cav.
He looked so gray. He looked so ashy in that fucking wine.
No, but you know what the worst part is that he's immortalized as a Cav because of the meme of what happened the day one to Gordon Hayward. The shot of him like doing.
Oh,
like
and
that.
LeBron look.
Yeah. When Gordon got hurt and he was like, so that became a meme. So he's immortalized. That is like, I think that is the most. Is that the most famous Dwayne Wade meme?
No, there's a bunch.
Meme?
The one of him at the meme. Okay, I'm thinking gifts.
Like meme, like for comedy, like for jokes. I think that might be it.
I think so. Because the GIFs he has a lot, but memes.
hella
Yeah.
juice.
He's a Jrich guy. He's a Jrich guy.
Yeah, no, that
Yeah.
calf shit never happened.
No,
He did
maybe
not
I
look
love it.
good.
Maybe I love it. That might be the one. Thank God.
That's a good
Thank
one.
God. Thank God. Okay, we're saved. But continue.
So
Lou,
back to
tell us
Jamal
about
Cain.
I'm so sorry. I fucking
It's okay.
torpedoed. I've torpedoed the show by
We're
having
almost
fun.
done.
We're
So
almost done.
back to Jamal Cain. I think last year's role, what Caleb's role was last year, I think that's what Cain's role, if he ever gets a chance to play, will be this year. Obviously, you heard what I think Caleb's role is going to be this year, a lot more initiating and stuff like that. I don't think any of that is what Cain should be doing.
Correct.
Primarily just energy, 3-and-D, point of attack, offensive rebounding, closing out possessions, because he can grab boards. He is 6'7". You can tell he's lengthy, all of the E's. But he's offensively, his jumper looks so much better than it did at the start of Summer League last year. Because at the start of Summer League last year, he was coming off the bench and he was just like athletic. He would hit a shot every now and then, but I was like, ugh, is that really trustworthy? And then it just got better and got better. And then this Summer League, every time he shot one, I was like, shit, that shit's going in.
Preseason
Preseason,
plan for jump shooting.
yeah,
Ugh,
preseason,
that
it
does
felt
not look good. And
Yeah.
then,
yeah, all of a sudden. But preseason, he wasn't missing. And
Yeah.
I think offensively, just slot him right into that corner, 45-degree wing area, and just let him roam off ball, do whatever he finds decent over there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm excited. So the other thing I want to kind of get at with him is, and this is gonna be something that is gonna be very common, a common conversation with all these guys, is can you shoot enough to stay on the court? Because ultimately, when you have a guy like Jimmy and Bam who are not 3-point shooters, the rest of those dudes need to be able to space, because if not, we get what happened last year, because already they struggle with getting to the rim and all the stuff we've always talked about. So guys like him, guys like Highsmith, guys like Richardson, you gotta hit shots, because the other options, Cole Swider, can't defend. So they need to find that balance of, can you hit enough shots and can you defend at a high level? And that's why they have these wings, right? Guys like Jamal Cain, guys like Jaquez, guys like Richardson, guys like Caleb Martin, right? Guys like Highsmith, guys like Jovic. We're asking the same questions of these guys if you really break it down. Can you hit enough shots, or can you defend enough? Or can they hide you enough in a zone that they can get away with some minutes? Because, Lou, in the playoffs, that's all that matters. Can you stay on the court?
And like you said, the shooting is a big thing. I think something that he does a little different, besides the fact that I do think he can shoot, is get those, like, if you're not a good enough shooter, what else can you do offensively? And I think his niche is offensive rebound,
and they
extra
need
possessions,
because they have none of that.
Exactly. And that's something that I think he can just slide right into. He just has a knack for knowing where the ball is going to be. But I do think his shot is good enough. I think it's, to be very honest,
It looks good.
I think it's very disrespectful that they gave Drew Smith that last spot. And I'm not even a Drew Smith hater, because I don't think he's horrible. But I think Cain did way more than he ever should have to earn that last spot. And I think it's bad roster management that they felt forced to give Drew Smith that spot over Jamal Cain. I hope Drew Smith proves me wrong and he turns out to be better than Gabe Vincent, even though I think it's a 5% chance. Look at that jumper. It's quick, off the hip, catch and shoot.
And that wasn't a great pass.
No,
It wasn't. It was a smooth shot off a bad pass.
Oh, good pass, Duncan.
We're talking about the wrong point guards.
Jamal Cain, but hold on, Pablo, rewind that. I want to watch that pocket pass.
I could tell G didn't watch an ounce of preseason basketball. So I was going crazy when I saw this.
Look at that pocket pass.
You want to talk about that 45-degree cut?
Hold on,
Perfect.
Pablo, pause it for a second.
Slasher.
Hold on, I'm gonna look everybody in the eye right now.
Oh God.
I watched 4 minutes of preseason basketball. I watched 30 seconds of Summer League basketball, and I watched 0 minutes of World Cup FIBA basketball. I have not thought about basketball in a significant way since Jimmy missed that 3 at the end of Game 5.
And we love that for you.
And You're gonna be so sick of me by season's end.
Damn straight. Let him know.
I'm being honest with the audience, bro. Why do you think I got you guys? I haven't given a lot of input on these dudes. I've just been like, oh, Bond, Lou, what do you think? Yeah, do tell.
How can this guy fit?
I gotta be
He's
honest with
writing
you.
it down.
I'm gonna be real. Brady's gonna carry me tomorrow.
Look, I'm watching
that.
such
He
of
just
the wrong.
came-
Play that again. Look at Hamish.
So wait, is Duncan,
Hey.
is Duncan the point guard?
Is Hamish the point guard?
Pablo?
Gee,
Rise up, come
hey,
off,
Jamal Cain was running point guard in this preseason, G. So
They were.
and that's an above
swear
the
to God.
break. Give me that one more.
This was the time of Spo's life.
Right
Spo,
at the
I
break.
think Spo had more fun here than he did beating the Bucks.
Oh, you know he does.
his ability to relocate right there perfectly and still get
Yeah.
that shot off over a contest from like 2 feet behind on the wing, just fucking chef's kiss. And yet we gave Drew Smith a fucking
Man, good
roster
screen,
spot.
Thomas Bryant.
That's
Hey.
a great pass.
Thomas Bryant's hooping.
Hey, good screen, Thomas. Oh, good extra pass, Dunk. Good. Oh, hit that over, Wemby.
Wemby,
Right.
yeah.
Look at that. That was a volleyball block.
And that's what I'm saying. Literally the same role Caleb had last year.
Literally,
it's
yes.
literally what Jamal Cain will be this year,
Yes.
or should be this year.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Oh, my goodness, when he
Hold
did
on.
that-
I know this isn't the Drew Smith show. That was some nice point of attack
Listen.
defense by Drew Smith.
Drew
that's-
is fine. Y'all leave Drew
Hey,
alone.
Pablo rewind.
That's-
Hold on. Thomas Bryant was cooked,
Hey.
and my man
Hey.
said, "Look at it. Look right there.
Look.
Screen comes. Hey man, that was a Lou. Hey man.
Hey man,
Hey man.
look, real quick on Drew Smith. I don't think he's bad.
Hey,
I don't think he's bad.
that's good stuff by Duncan there.
He
I don't
didn't-
think-
Hey,
I
gotta
don't
be
think-
honest with you. I like this team except reality.
Look at
and that's
Look at
deep,
that.
but it was fine. Rebound. Look at that spring.
that's what I'm saying. He has a good. You know, he has better than Caleb, a second jump.
Yes.
He's really.
Oh, by the
he's
way,
good at those.
Pablo rewind that. I hate Bam taking that shot. I fucking hate it. I want you to
Gee.
pause it when the shot goes up.
I'm
I
so.
want
Caleb is athletic and spry, but like Jamal is very spry. Like Jamal is really springy, second twitch, second jump.
Pause it when the
That's-
shot goes up. Why do I hate this?
that.
Why do I
This
hate
is
this?
terrible. This
There is
running
no-
push from the second hash.
You're double team. There's no one to offensive rebound, right?
Jamal Cain is
So
there.
Jamal Cain's gonna come crash the board.
He's me.
That was way hard for Jamal Cain to do. If you have a guy, it's just a,
a bad
quote
shot.
great Paul George. That's a bad shot.
It's a bad shot.
Oh, it's a
bad-
horrible shot.
It's a
but
bad shot. And Jamal Cain fixed it, but I hate that. I hate that for him.
but he's very active, and I think that bodes
That
very well
clip,
for
by
him.
the
Look,
way,
another one.
that clip, by the way, is why I don't believe in Tyler.
Step. Give it to me again.
Jesus Christ, man. Jamal,
Oh no, the full clip.
this
I need
is
to see.
no disrespect to Drew Smith. He's solid at everything he does. I don't think he has a real strength or a
Can't get
real
a step.
weakness. But man, look at this kid. How is he not
I'm
on?
watching this all for the first time.
Shit is frustrating, guys.
Oh man.
I can't
Yeah.
be the
Hey man, Thomas Bryant in the picture too. Ready for
Bond. Can I ask you? Do you at least agree with me that he should have received this last spot? Because I know you're not a Drew Smith hater, and I don't think I am either. But I think
No, it should have been Jamal. And like
I think Drew Smith was fourth on my list. I think it should have been Jamal, Hampton, Swider, and then Drew Smith. No
yes,
disrespect to
that's
Drew
my
Smith.
exact list. That's my exact. I think Drew got some shit to him, and he can be fine. But like
Drew Smith
you're
defense.
void
is
of
cool.
you're void of point guards anyway. You don't play a point guard heavy system. You might as
Oh.
well just get. I don't know.
Just
it's gonna
this is your strength. Nail that shit down. Be what Toronto couldn't be the last couple years.
it's gonna
They
be
said-
really
and
funny.
If RJ one time, G. If RJ hadn't like, I think RJ showed enough, and I
one game?
really like his downhill ability. And but this is not that show.
I'm saying,
Samara with Brady.
Brady, do us justice tomorrow.
I actually
Do
may
us
bring
justice.
Alf on just for 1 second, so Alf can tell Brady his theory as to why Drew Smith made the team, just to make Brady uncomfortable. Just Alf drop the take and leave, just to make Brady uncomfortable.
Just
Shout out to
walk in
White Hot
unannounced.
Takes. They saw my list and then they said Bouye and then Drew Smith. I agree.
I did not like Bouye.
I was not a Bouye
Bouye
guy.
gave me
You and Frankie and Kenny.
No.
fucking
Kenny.
love-
Kenny is a Bouye
Frankie
guy.
loved Bouye. Frankie loved Bouye too.
I'm a Drew Smith over Bouye guy, but I not that much.
Bouye gave me crackhead energy. It's too erratic.
Sometimes
No,
that's what you
seriously.
need.
Nah. Caleb has low key crackhead
Sometimes
energy, but
sometimes
it's
that
more
wins you
composed.
titles. Look at Birdman, my goat.
What?
Nope, different crack.
The best kind of crackhead.
Hold on. Bond is so right. Bond's so right about that.
It's a different drug.
Bond's different. That's a lot. That was the last time that he had a good backup center.
No lies were told. No, Bam when he was a backup.
Bam, that's right. Bam was a backup center.
There you go.
No,
Bam was-
also wasn't Olenek a backup center? I like Olenek.
Shout out KO.
Shout out KO. All right, guys. Let's do we have
Round it
anything to
out.
say about Jamal Cain defensively? Because I want to just zoom through this.
Nope. Great on ball, great in the gaps, quick.
Lanky.
Same nose he
can
has
recover.
for the rebounds.
I
he
think
has
very
for the
similar to
ball
Caleb
handles.
with a little
Yes.
more size.
I'm telling you, he's the Caleb replacement. He is the Caleb backfill.
Lou, do you
in
want to
my-
give your? I'm sorry to cut you off, Bond. Lou, do you want to give your take on what they might drew with about Cain and Caleb that you said on Mixed Bag? Because I thought that's like a really nice way to close this section out.
Oh, I basically said if the Heat ever do find a way or do ever actually want to recoup some value, which they're not known for doing, out of Caleb, I think Cain would be literally just the perfect replacement to what he could do last year. And if what I believe what Caleb's going to be, initiating and stuff, if you can get that back in the Martin trade and just let Cain just literally ease right into this role of what Caleb was last year, I think your return on investment is going to be huge.
And I think that's one of your smoothest transitions until Ame is ready to take over the Jimmy role. But I think the Jamal, Caleb.
I've been said that.
What?
Give me Jaime as my sixth man all year. That's my thing. That's my. I love Jaime. I love Jaime.
It's the body.
Is this story?
Moving
real?
on.
Pat
Dunk
Riley.
me.
Pat Riley admits Bam Adebayo was discussed in trade this year. Did I miss that?
He said, no, the quote that I saw was we were shooting for a top 5 guy. And so no one was withheld from like talks, so to speak.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I haven't seen him say flat out.
I mean,
for fucking who?
he said it, but Bam's not getting fucking traded.
Right.
I don't have any fucking sources, but I don't think he's getting traded, guys. Just a hunch.
This will be this is a prove it type of year for him in them types of talks, but we're way far off from that.
I do think it's funny that today all this news broke and the only thing I've seen from Jimmy today was he got his face painted at his daughter's birthday.
I love him.
King. Absolute king.
We
stand
athletes with lives.
My goat. I hate sidetracking us. He reminds me a lot of Chris Bosh in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
I get a lot of Chris Bosh energy that those are just two men that really, frankly, love the world and wanted to kind of embrace all different aspects of it. And I think that's why Heat fans also love Jimmy so much because I think Bosh is for sure, no doubt, one of the favorite players to ever play here.
Absolutely. And just one last thing on Jimmy Butler. If you ever listen to this podcast, I will kill you on dominoes. And that's I put my Cuban livelihood on that. I will not lose to Jimmy on dominoes.
No, but the thing with Jimmy is Jimmy will play you until he wins one, and eventually you'll just get tired of it.
He will never win. And he plays up to 666. That's not even, man, don't get me started, Jimmy. That's some weak shit.
Don't even. This is the sanctity of the game is ruined. All right, let's close out with Dunky Dunk. The starting power forward.
Take it back.
My point forward. He should have been at the
point guard.
Forward. I saw that. Kale, you says I hate sidetracking us. Gee, no one believes this. That's true. I actually do like sidetrack.
No, it's great. It's fine.
Bond.
Yo.
This is a guy. I will get through this quickly. Listen, we know what Duncan's game is. I think the question is the stuff we saw in the playoffs is his off the dribble game going to translate to 82? And is he going to find consistency shooting the ball? I think everything else is what it is about him. I think those are really the two big questions that we got to answer next season.
I think the offense right now with the lack of like heavy ball handlers is probably, and with the lack of other like competition for his spot, I think that the offense lends itself to tilting back into a style that better suits him. The start preseason last season, or like preseason, yeah, it was either preseason last season or Kyle's first season, when he didn't look well. Duncan, Leche Agenda says Duncan is a better defender than the refs give him credit for.
No, he isn't.
No, he's not. I almost wanted to give you credit, and then G started to say no, and then I don't think he is. He's really not. Cole is better defender than Duncan. But I digress.
Size matters.
Size matters and everything. Don't let no one tell you it doesn't. I think that again, because we don't really have too heavy of a primary, you don't want to take too much. You don't want too much from Kyle's legs to begin. I do think that the offense leans back into a way that he can flow and get some movement and kind of get some feel. I didn't think that the catch and shooting relegation was going to bode well for him, and it kind of didn't. And then when he was put back into the rotation in the playoffs, he came back. He was a professional. You know, he shot the ball well, but I think his shooting levels back out. I think it is back closer to the higher end for him. My questions, I don't know that I care to see too much of him even trying to make the off the bounce stuff legitimate. If you can catch like a sneak drive every now and then, I'm fine with that. I like that pass to Jamal. If Duncan's passing to someone other than Bam can allow him to still like fly off of actions and have other parts moving around him, if he can get more of that, I think he sees himself stay on the floor more. I think the defense sees himself staying on the floor more. I'm very interested in what it feels like a fresh year for him, and so I just want to see how he feels and really how he's involved. I do think some of those things come back better in his favor. I'm interested in seeing him within the rest of the offense, with a shot not ending in his hands.
Luke?
I think that this is going to be a very interesting year for Duncan because he's literally the only guy that does what he can do.
Only guy, no competition left.
Yeah, Swider got the two-way. So, I mean, he's the only guy as of this moment that in the playoffs theoretically can do what he can do. And I think it's interesting. I don't think he's guaranteed playing time because
I don't either.
I think he has. So
no one is under spell.
Yeah, but realistically, I think he's safe in the sense of this is his role and you know what he's going to provide. But I think the rest of this Heat team just fits in a way defensively, particularly if they can shoot well enough. I don't think Duncan is guaranteed his role. I do think some of the passing to other people outside of Bam, I hope he plays only with Bam, but then that cuts into your Tyler Bam minutes. So I'm curious to see where he's going to fit and with who he's going to fit. I think the biggest sign for Duncan is how much of those floaters he can hit because he was bringing them out in the preseason and they were kind of inconsistent. But you can see some improvement there because I don't think he's a good finisher at the rim. I know his percentile score is fucking crazy, but that's because nobody guards him when he gets to the rim. Like he just gets by people and gets to the rim.
I disagree with that. There's some up and unders in there. There's some tight finishes. I don't think he's as good as the percentages because I do think a lot of it is him springing open. But I think that he's not just, it's not target practice.
I think he's a good finisher because he can off of backdoors. He's very good, but I'm talking about literally getting the ball in his hands and going up to a center. He doesn't challenge him at the rim. He kind of like gets lost in that like mid-range.
He's very good at using the rim as protection.
Yeah. Especially the reverses to your point, but him like in that in between area.
Glass, he's very good when he goes high off the glass.
Correct.
Which I think that's like one of the more difficult in traffic finishes.
Yeah, but if he could just add to this, because I do think he has a lot of finishes. Just none of them are really in that in-between area. He's either a very much at the rim or a 3-point guy. I don't think his pull-up midi is anywhere near as good as it should be, and his floater
Should
hasn't
be
been
though, Lou, right? Shouldn't his
Should
pull-up
be.
midi should be a
It's
lot more
not.
polished by now.
42% on mid range last year, 39 the year before, 40 the year before, 29 the year before.
Yeah, it's like you don't want him taking those. You literally just want threes or at the rim shots. And I think that's the difference. I think if he can add something, a nice little, it's like an onion, man. You just want a nice little layer there. You feel what I'm saying? It's like a lasagna. Like you got the bechamel, you got the pasta,
like onion.
like a lasagna. No, like a lasagna. Lasagna is better. You want the meat. The meat's in the middle, man. Duncan got to get to the meat. Pause. He just got to get the floater's got to be working. Something else to his game offensively, because I do think he's a good passer. I think he's a good shooter. But at the end of the day, his defense isn't trustworthy enough most of the time. So can you live with Duncan?
Innings eater.
Yeah, I generally think that maybe like people like Highsmith and Caleb,
Lou,
those kind of guys might just completely eat into his minutes.
Right to that. Someone in Heat asked earlier in the offseason, like, who gets squeezed out between the power wings and the wings, the whole wing room, who gets squeezed out? And I think
Duncan Robinson.
Great potential that Duncan gets squeezed.
Because
we've seen it before.
Yeah.
And the difference is now there's more to squeeze him out the way now.
Yeah, there is no Strus this year, but
I'm with Rohan. I think it's Jovic.
Oh no, I think Jovic,
I don't count
Jovic is already on the outside looking in.
I
we're talking about the guys who are in looking out. I think Duncan. You see my door over there?
I think if we're talking playoff rotation, that's like the battle, right? Because then you have Hawkes that's gonna have to prove it.
Cain.
You have Cain, who's gonna the two-way guys are.
Sorry, Cain. I meant to say.
And the two-way guys, they're gonna have to play in the playoffs. They got to be converted. Which
I was talking about Caleb. I don't know why I said
Caleb. Highsmith, Duncan. Those are the guys that
if Cole gets converted, Cole squeezes Duncan, and
one of them has to get in.
And again, another insurance guy, Cole Swider. If Duncan is to get moved, that two-way is getting converted.
And Cole can do
imagine
more.
if they had Udonis, they would they don't have space. They need all of it. They need every inch of roster spot.
I'm not gonna lie, I think it's borderline disrespectful that they don't have a 15th roster spot because of Mickey not wanting to.
No, they're doing it because they want to convert one of the two-way guys.
But would they not just
why not just convert them now and go get another two-way guy? Shit.
You guess you cut a guy? Yeah, it could be. You're right.
Mickey, got to stop being cheap sometimes, my mind.
I don't know if that's a cheap thing because that'd just be a minimum, but
that it cuts into their. I think it costs them like $4 million in terms of luxury money. Ask Brian.
We need Brian coins. We need coins. Yeah, real quick on Duncan. I kind of agree with everything my colleagues have said. I think that I'm interested to see what he brings off the dribble, and I think in terms of kind of them not having a lot of ball handling point guard help. I think that's somewhere where you can kind of see him thrive. I think that they're going to go back to some of that movement offense. I think this because it makes sense. And you don't have and that's where this originated from. If you guys remember, really it started because they didn't have ball handlers. Dion got hurt and they just had a bunch of fours that could kind of dribble. So they just said, okay, well, we're gonna make this motion offense with Ellington and stuff like that. And then the final form of it was with Bam and Duncan, right? This like kind of machine that they had in 2020. And I could see them dipping their toes back into that, right? And I think I like Kyle in that role as well. Maybe less penetration, more coming off of handoffs east-west to kind of preserve his body a little bit. I'm interested in, and then for Duncan, when you're doing that, we see how he gets defended. They throw two at the ball. If they switch, Bam slips. He's gotten way better at that pass. And I think that's the one thing I've been confident about is that when he sees that defender come up, he's really good at getting that pass out. He also has kind of added some downhill zip to his game. So I'm excited to see that element. And if he can listen, this is a moot conversation. If he shoots what we know he's capable of, I mean, he shot 33% from three last year. That's awful for him. He shot 44, 40, and 37. If he shoots 38, 39% from three, and that's like on the lower end of what he's capable of, like for a good year, he's in. They need a guy that can shoot at that volume with that movement, and
Who can
also
space?
who can space and who
I'm
can.
telling you, Cole will be all right.
And Cole is gonna have a chance to compete
Will
for
have
that
a
as
chance.
well. I will say about Cole though, and it was Max's first year in the system.
Yes.
Max, you saw it. I mean, there was that game at Houston, remember, where Max had like 5 threes. He couldn't get the consistency at the game speed, and I think that might happen with Cole as well, where maybe he not. But I think for sure he's a guy that is clearly like next in line for that role. So hopefully he pops out early. That'd be amazing at his size and everything. So that's going to be a fun kind of contest to see. And really, guys, we've done it.
Yeah.
We did about almost, I venture to say, damn near 2.5 hours
Of wings.
of wing preview. Winging it. Just wings.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Listen, who else is doing it like us? We have Brady Hawk tomorrow to talk about the guards, all 3 of them. So tomorrow, 7 p.m., Brady Hawk. And then, listen, we're back, baby. Heat Pistons, the way the defending conference champs start the year. Is that game home?
Yeah, home game.
Oh, thank you, Adam Silver. Thank you, Adam. Thank you.
Wait. I think Tiff and I are doing a space tomorrow afternoon.
What time,
1
Vaughn?
Eastern. 1 Eastern.
Where can they find it?
Twitter. I'm not calling it X. It's Twitter.
No, but like whose Twitter? Like yours?
Oh, mine. I'll retweet it.
Heapy will retweet it as well. Join in. Check out what these 2 amazing people have to say. We will be post-game. I have 2 announcements today. Post-game for Heat Pistons and post-game for Heat Celtics. Hosted by Alphonse Sidney. It is not hangover. It is not hangover time. It is just Alf hosting a post-game show because I will be at a Super Smash Brothers Melee tournament, and I'm gonna competing in the National Arcadian, baby. Root for your boy. I have a Falco. My round 1. I fuck up the bird. I main Princess Peach. Cheer for me. I want to go 500 in the unranked. I'm playing in the unranked bracket. This is for the not pros. This is for the schmucks like me out here putting time and effort, grinding the local scene. Catch me at Rock on Thursday at the pre-local. If you want to support the Melee scene. And hey, man, excited for Heat season. We're excited. Guys, this is going to be a fun team with a lot of young players and Thomas Bryant. We're going to have a great time.
Preseason standout, Thomas Bryant.
Preseason standout. Let's just say G dropped the coolest announcement of the year and then follow it up with I'll be at a Smash tournament.
Balance. Duality.
The funny thing is that Alf would fucking hate if he heard this. Thank God he doesn't listen. He'd be furious. And I will be on with Brady Hawk tomorrow at 7 p.m. So we got Tuesday show with Brady, Wednesday postgame against the Pistons, Thursday is the load management day, and Friday against the Celtics. And then I will be on Monday for Heat Bucks, October 30th. Heat versus Damian Lillard. Hopefully Jimmy's playing and not with dental problems. So we love to see it. And we'll see you guys. So we'll see you tomorrow. I don't think you'll be seeing anybody here until the season starts. So we're signing off. Love y'all. Peace out. And listen, I'm saving for that. I'm saving for that Porsche.
Hang up.